want to do more damage. You want to survive better. You want to win more war zones, arenas. Are you scared of arenas? Don't feel like your abilities are doing damage? Well, I have you covered. Whether it's talents, stats, defensives, or simple game systems, you will do more damage after watching this video. Alright, let's start with accuracy. That is required for PvE to hit 100% of the time, as your uptime is very good. But that is not possible in PvP due to defensives. To give you a quick example, I am not using the accuracy. Why am I not using accuracy? Well, I'm a mostly yellow damage class, so therefore I do not need accuracy. And when it comes to PvP, yellow damage does not need to roll on the defense chance of players. If you do white damage, you do. So for example, my defense chance is currently 8%. Now, if you're a class like a tank, your defense chance is going to be a lot higher. This is why, for the most part, hitting a tank is just not worth it. They will have a way better damage reduction. They will have a way better defense chance. And when it comes to using a defensive, damage reduction goes through the roof. So, as you can see, hitting into defensives is not a good idea. So when it comes to your abilities doing no damage, this is one part of it, but not that important, as we will gloss over it now. So when it comes to accuracy, since accuracy on most classes is just not useful in PvP, there is no point in running it at all. If you are one of the few classes that do want accuracy, I actually have videos covering them. Feel free to either leave a comment or check those videos out. Now, with accuracy kind of out of the way, what do you put your stats in? Well, since I just showed you my stats, we're pretty much going to go what I'm going. For the most part, this isn't exactly what you'll see in PvP, and in order to see what you'll see in PvP, you can go to the Rishi Stronghold. And when you're in the Rishi Stronghold, a bolster is applied to you. And this is the same bolster that is applied to PvP, including low level and mid level PvP. However, for max level, it works different. And why does it work different? Well, there were several bugs with bolster that allowed you to get way too many stats. So bolster has basically been disabled for max level PvP. You get no extra stats for not having appropriate gear. So if you're looking to min-max your output, get more damage, win more, survive better, you need to have gear. If you don't have gear, you're not going to do anything. You're probably going to be the cause of most losses, if not all of them. Probably will not achieve a positive win rate unless you are playing something like Concealment Operative and you're playing out of your mind. And people maybe just leaving you alone. Sometimes that happens. Some games are just free. But for the most case, gear is going to matter 9 out of 10 times. So what you're aiming for is around 4,800 critical to 5,000 critical. Depending on what class, you can actually go lower, but for the most part, that's a critical range that you want to go for. And you also have Alacrity. Since I have the new Augments, I can go a different build to hit Alacrity, but a general and easy way to hit the Alacrity threshold, which would be 1.4 GCD, but also just enough Alacrity to not have too much critical, so you're not hitting too much into the critical DR, is pretty much around 2100 to 2200. What you would do is just run 4 Alacrity pieces, and what I mean by 4 Alacrity pieces would be running an earpiece, double implants, and like an enhancement. It doesn't have to be these pieces. All of your pieces that are Alacrity, whether it's enhancement or earpiece or implants, they all have the same stats when it comes to Alacrity. So if you just run 4 of them, you will hit about 2200, which is all you need. Now, if you don't fit this category, it's totally fine. If you do, this is going to ramp up your damage tenfold. You're going to do a lot more damage, you're going to survive a lot better. This is a very important thing to do with your gear. And let me go back to Fleet real quick. Accuracy is a wasted stat. I see it on a lot of players. A lot of players that I see that are running accuracy, they're running 2,000 to 3,000 accuracy, and they have about 1,000 critical. They're not hurting a fly on the wall. It's just not worth it for them. And they don't know that, maybe. Or if they do know that, they should probably change it. With some sort of stat priority kind of explained now, I want to move on to something else. And I'm sorry that this video is not completely professional because I'm just doing this in one take. And I just want to get this out there as soon as possible because I'm seeing a lot of players queuing up in PvP with under 300 item level, and it is a miserable experience for a lot of these players, and they will probably quit before they ever even reach their goal because they're probably going very, very negative. And they're probably feeling like they're not doing anything, but when they play mid-level and low-level PvP, they feel like they can do something. And that's only because in those modes you actually get a bolster. You don't get a bolster at max level PvP, so please take the time, gear up a little bit. And on the Imperial side, this will look a little bit different, but we are in the supply section of the fleet, so it will be a little bit different. But you'll find this person called Hyde and Zeke. This guy will sell you the mods, this guy will give you the quest. So what we want to do here, if you're looking for gear, let's say you don't have 336 or you're one of those players with 200 item level or something like that, what you're looking at is to get at least one piece, whether you're doing flashpoints, whether you're doing raiding, whatever you end up doing to get your currencies to then get a gear piece. So for example, if you just really don't like playing with people, you can do conquest, and once you get enough conquest, you constantly run the solo content, which is over here. Do all this, do CZ, especially on all your characters, and get these boxes. You can eventually get this all the way up to 340. But let's say you just get to like 334, right? Or 332, something like that. And then start doing like PvP and getting PvP boxes. You'll start getting these boxes that all contain purple gear. And obviously that'll be a lot better. Horizon PvP gear in general is just going to be better. So is Rakata. What you could do is start off doing conquest or flashpoints, get that gear, and just constantly wear upgrades and upgrade it as much as you can until you get at least one piece that is 336 and it's blue. So you'll probably just go do a whole bunch of solo stuff if that's what you prefer. Once you get some decent item level, go and do some hammer stations, even if you have to like solo or duo. If you have a healing companion like Arkin or another Inquisitor, they have two different cleanses, so they can cleanse the beam off of you when you're soloing the first boss, which is a little bit more advanced. I'm sorry that I'm even bringing this up to some of you players. This is probably not something that you could probably do, but it does have two cleanses, and it wouldn't be too hard to just go in there, solo that boss, rinse, repeat, and get a blue piece of gear. And then once you have that 336 blue, you come in here, you can pick up the quest. So once you've talked to them through the like first intro, we'll talk about a whole bunch of random stuff. But they're basically explaining what they do, and then you can pick up this mission right here. Once you have this mission, you can then deconstruct a piece of gear to unlock these mods. So right now, I only have the enhancements for 332. And basically this was like a couple, this was last updates, like gear cap. I haven't updated mine. And what I can do right here is, since I have a 336 sitting right here, I can just deconstruct this and turn in the quest, and then I will then have access to 336 blues. Just like that, gearing is solved for you. All you have to do is go and get the right there. So the purples are something that you want to grind for, but not immediately. So if you want to get gear and you don't have legacy gear, or you just want modded gear and you don't have modded gear, what you would do is run over here. If you're on Imperial side, it does look a little bit different, but generally they're in the same position. You'll go to this. This gear is bound to legacy, or a little bit further down. This gear. You can tell by it saying binds to legacy right underneath the item rating. So you can buy a full set of this, and then you can use that to then make your gear look like this. So for example, I'm using one of the reputation gears from Mikeb. This is just like one of the few sets that I have, but basically you put in your modded stuff, you have a full set of gear, so you're able to get weapons and your armor. However, you'll still have to grind for your relic and your earpiece. Then your implants are the same as PvE grind. They're a little bit different, but basically what you want to do is focus on 2 implants and push them to the highest that you can, because then it will unlock the legacy reduced cost to then lower the cost when you buy new implants on your alts, or just different implants in general. And the best way, once you've already got your 3-6 blues, you're looking at doing PvP weeklies. Opening those crates, they'll probably give you just flat out an earpiece, relics. Use those, upgrade those, and eventually you'll have that done and out of the way. Another thing that can happen if you are new to the game or you're returning, one thing that you would really want to make sure that you have is looking at class companion buffs. As long as you have one section of all of these done on one of your characters, whether it's Imperial or Republic, it does not matter. One section, that's all you need. Each individual one of these will give you 1% in the respective thing. So for example, this one grants a bonus to your accuracy. This is 1% accuracy for free. Definitely want it. This one's 1% total healing received bonus. The max health bonus. This is a critical hit damage bonus. This is probably one of the more important ones, critical hit chance. And then you also have the legacy buffs. I'm just going to go with Imperial here, just to explain this a little bit easier for me. So if you get this agent buff, your critical hit chance is increased by 5%. That is actually huge. If you have low critical, you don't have much critical in the first place, missing this buff is a tremendous DPS loss. And when it goes into priority of like what you want to get for your buffs, you're looking at these 3 buffs right here: Warrior, Inquisitor, and Agent. The endurance buff is nice, but Bounty Hunter should be your least important one. You want to get these 3 as soon as you can. This one will give you 10% damage, or elemental and eternal damage reduction. This means dot classes won't hurt you as much. And then this one is just pure damage. So you're looking at getting these 2 for damage, and this one is mastery and damage reduction. And then this one is just endurance. You can see how important it is to actually get your buffs and try to at least unlock one section of these. Doesn't matter which side or which class. Once you have that, you're not really at the same disadvantage. However, there are datacrons that you can get. So this is like something even further beyond. This is something you should work on passively. These do not stack multiplicatively. They just add an extra stat point to your total stat point. So that is something to keep in mind. Obviously, they do help in the long run, but it's not like you're gaining thousands of mastery from doing this. You're not gaining like that much at all. I think it's like 800 total stats, maybe tops, which I guess maybe a little bit less. But it's in like the long haul, 800 stats is, that's like an extra half a bracer roughly. Because you're only getting endurance, you're only getting mastery, so you're looking at maybe like 400. It's not even a bracer, right? It's not huge, but it could be the equivalent of maybe like 1 augment, almost, or not almost, but it would be like 2 at the very min. You get the ideal, right? So Catacrons, something you should work for, but it's not going to be that crazy. And then when you want to go for higher augments, this is the best augment currently in the game. Now, you're probably not going to start out getting those immediately, so let me go to a stronghold. I'll show you the Galactic Trade Network, and then I'll show you the cheap augments that you should be buying. Let's go down here. Sorry, this video has definitely ran on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but very important that people learn how important gear actually is. So here we're looking at Aug83. This is just an abbreviation. It's Augment 83. This will show the current augments that are available. So for example, you most likely will be looking at 5 to 4 mil per augment. You need 14 of these, so you're going to be augmenting all of your gear. You should probably augment your legacy gear that you're going to use, and you'll be able to transfer this per character, so you can either mail it to your other character, or you can use the legacy beta to do so. So the value of you actually augmenting your weapons and augmenting everything here is really important. On top of that, those enhancements you can transfer to your ults. Then this is the main, like, per character. Obviously you can transfer the relics and the earpieces, that's totally fine because they're bound to legacy. But when it comes to implants, you really can't reuse these unless your class, you have like multiple the same class. Or you're using something like Stimulated, which is usable in all classes. So with that in mind, you're looking at, let's say, 83, 5 mil each, and then once you've got that, you also need cake. I think it's 11. Yep, you'll need 14 of these in total. Obviously, you'll probably go for your 9 pieces first, so there'll be 7 here and then 2 here. And then you'll work on these last as you'll be upgrading them, and it's not worth to constantly augment these when you're upgrading them. However, they would give you more stats if you were to do that. Now, for example, I'm going to go grab some old gear. So let's move our tacticals down, because otherwise I'm going to be completely confused. So what I'm going to do right now, it's not something I recommend doing, but we're going to lower our gear, just give you an example of what it's like. You're not geared for PvP. Your stats might look like something like this. And this is assuming that you actually optimize your stats a little bit. You have augments. These are like, well, I still have my weapons obviously on. This is like what would happen. Your gear is not very good. 3,000 bonus damage, 33% crit chance. This is optimized, by the way. Or this is 258 gear, I believe. Yeah. Not good. Really not good. So as I put my new gear on, you'll see my stats go up an insane amount. You can kind of see how important it is to actually have gear. On top of that, outside of the gearing thing, we're also looking at tacticals, talents, implants. So for example, if you're curious of what a Vanguard runs, this is what I run on my Vanguard. Sometimes I change like this one. You can kind of go all 3 of these, doesn't really matter. If you're playing arenas, sometimes running the guard cannon can be kind of nice, but most of the time I don't bother. Sometimes this one can be pretty good too, but most of the time I don't bother. Virtually never use this, even though this is pretty good. I really just like the extra range, because being able to play as a mid-range to a ranged character and line of sight a lot of the times, it's very nice. However, you got some options, but for the most part, this is like your standard kit. I have a lot of other guides on my channel regarding like multiple different classes. I pretty much play every single class in the game. I don't really heal, so healing content is not something that you'll really find. But I can most likely guide you into the right place if you guys are curious. Other than that, I recommend checking out my gear stats or critical, or I guess diminishing returns for all classes. I have a video dedicated to that and many other guides. I will link my guide playlist down below. And other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to help.